Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very interesting episode for you guys that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy, so make sure you stick around for this one. Now, listen, I think Chris Broussard, in my personal opinion, I think he is one of the best NBA analysts out there on TV today, if I'm being honest, right? We're pretty new in the business. We've only been in this business for a few years now. So these have been the guys that have been really dominating the space. And I think he's one of the best out there, in my personal opinion. He has made some fantastic basketball, points. He's been a part of some great basketball debates on TV over the last few years, right? He's been at the center of it. And I think he's been one of the most consistent voices on TV. And I really enjoy him actually when he goes at Nick Wright on TV, when they go back and forth, when he really tries to put Nick Wright in his place. I think he does a fantastic job with that. And now he has a term that I think that he came up with. I'm facts over feeling. You're bringing emotions to a fact. I mean, I think that's just great. But this season, however, he has made some very astute basketball observations, and some of the things that he said really made me start to think about basketball in a more robust way. He said a lot of things, but there was one that he said, and that came after, I believe it was game 1 or game 2 in the Boston Celtics versus Brooklyn Nets series. Chris Broussard came on TV on First Things First, and he was given his analysis about what was really happening as to why Kevin Durant was struggling so much. And he came on there and he made a point that I think the majority of the NBA world, at least in the media, didn't even pick up on. So for those of you who missed that point, because the point was so good, we actually used it as a centerpiece of a video that we produced. I believe it was on April 22nd. And it was about that comment at Michael Jordan. So for those of you who missed what Chris Broussard actually said, we want to play what he had to say, and then we're going to come back and really unpack this, because I think the point that he brought up was profound. Take a listen to that.
Kyrie Irving is an excellent offensive player that has been wildly overrated by segments of the media and segments of the player population because he is so almost hypnotizing with his skill. It should not be a shock to anyone that Kyrie Irving followed a great game with a bad game. He has done that throughout this season. The Durant thing is jarring in a way I have been saying for the last 2 months. Those 40 minutes a game might be wearing him down. That's the only possible explanation.
No.
Brew, you're shaking your head. I know you're saying it shouldn't happen.
There's another explanation.
There's another explanation.
First of all, he was out for
the thing.
20-something games straight.
I understand that, but just quickly, if I may. In this series, he has 13 made baskets and 12 turnovers. The way he is having the ball taken from him is more jarring than the missed jump shots or even seeing his jump shot get blocked. He is not, and he seemed so quietly confident going into this series in the press conferences. To see Kevin Durant on the court getting bullied, getting pushed around, not being able to do anything it is not the same stakes, and it is not that level of meltdown. But it is nearly as jarring as, to me, LeBron in 11, where it was like, wait, what is happening here? I've never seen this guy play like this. No.
Here's the difference.
I'm just saying as far as how different it looks from how I expected him to play. That's all I'm saying. It just doesn't look like Kevin Durant.
I agree with that, but LeBron took himself out of the series in 2011. They didn't stop him. He stopped himself.
Yep.
Let's give the Celtics some credit. And I'm going to say Nick, because we always hear, I even heard Gilbert Arenas recently on a podcast talking about Rodman, Jordan, Pippen. They couldn't guard Kevin Durant. This is 90s basketball. The refs are letting the Celtics play 90s defense. And they're getting physical with Kevin Durant, and he's not used to it. He's used to having room, being able to do what he wants. They are getting physical with him, and that's the problem. Simple as that. We know he's not incredibly strong. He's not big. He's not a physical player. They are letting the Celtics be physical, and it's thrown Durant off his game. That's the explanation. If he's tired from playing 40 minutes for a couple of months, shame on him. This is because they are playing too physical for him.
Let me relate those comments to the present day. I was one of the people that was extremely harsh on Kevin Durant for failing to not even get one game off of the Boston Celtics in round one. The Boston Celtics totally smothered KD. He literally looked like a different player. And if you look at his playoff stats, for example, if I bring up his playoff stats right now, think about this. In 4 games, Kevin Durant averaged, think about this. He averaged 26 points per game. That's cool. He shot 38.6% from the field. When was the last time you ever heard KD shoot under 40% in a series? He shot 33% from the three-point line. He did shoot 89.5% from the free throw line. He only ended up getting you 5.8 rebounds and 6.3 assists with 5 turnovers per game with 1 steal and 0.3 blocks per game. Those were KD's numbers, and it is said that KD is one of the greatest offensive players in the history in the NBA. So the question was, why did he struggle so much? And I think what ended up happening was it was more about KD than actually what was happening in the background. So when it became Giannis's turn to go against the same Boston Celtics defense, which is the #1 rated defense in the NBA, by the way, let's not forget that, I said Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to be more successful at playing against this particular defense than Kevin Durant was because of the nature of his playing style, given the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo is a much more physical player. And in fact, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to walk in there and steal game 1 from the Boston Celtics on the road. But what happened? What happened to Giannis Antetokounmpo's shooting percentages? Let me pull up Giannis's stats in the first 2 games against the Boston Celtics. Let me tell you Giannis's stats. In the first 2 games, Giannis is scoring 26 points per game, which is virtually the same as KD. He's getting you 11 rebounds, 9.5 assists, but listen to this. Giannis is shooting 38.5% from the field. What did KD shoot in that first round series? 38.6. He's shooting, get this, 16.7% from the three-point line, and he's shooting 55% from the free throw line. That is what Giannis is shooting in this series, and it made me begin to think about what Chris Broussard actually had to say, because if you look at Giannis's stats in the regular season, all of his stats in terms of his percentages are going down. And it made me begin to realize something, that wait a minute. We are overlooking just how good of a defense this Boston Celtics team is. I think Chris Broussard was the only person that pointed out that the Boston Celtics are playing 90s defense. This Boston Celtics team is a great, they play great team defense, and they have some fantastic individual defenders. Think about players like Grant Williams. This guy, if you watched the game yesterday, I mean, it was like an immovable. Giannis ran into him. It was like he ran into the wall. I mean, he absorbed all of the contact, and Giannis was on the move, and Giannis just bounced off of this guy. You have Grant Williams. You have Al Horford, who's a fantastic individual defender, and for a big guy, is able to move his feet rather quickly. You have Marcus Smart, who's a defensive player of the year, and you have underrated defenders, wing defenders, in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This Boston Celtics team is playing defense in a way I haven't seen a team play this type of defense in a very, very long time, and it's making me begin to realize that KD's struggles were not an anomaly. It wasn't a blip on the radar. That in fact that this thing is a trend, because now what's also happening to Giannis. The fundamental difference between Kevin Durant and Giannis is that even though Giannis, if he's struggling from the field, he can still dominate a game in different ways with his defense, his rebounding, and his playmaking, and his energy, which is also contagious. So Giannis can affect the game in more ways. Once KD's not scoring, he's not as effective. Whereas Giannis, even if he's not scoring, he's still a threat with his ability to get to the basket, slash to the paint, collapse the defense, and shoot and get the ball to open shooters in the corner. KD doesn't play that type of game. He's not searching for contact like that. So Giannis is still able to be successful against his team. But I think the number one takeaway is that Chris Broussard was actually right. We did not pay enough attention to just how good of a defense his team is. I thought KD was the issue. No. The same thing is happening to Giannis. They're shooting virtually the same percentage from the field, which lets me know this Boston Celtics defense ain't nothing to play with. They are scary good because now they're doing it to Giannis too. So for me, I think Chris Broussard was right on the money.